and even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth partying with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Cold Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk-adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit them online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Because that's the bottom line. The Stone Cold Simpson.
Everybody dies.
Because I'm better than you, and you know it. Woo! Yes, sir. What the Rock is cooking. Now, welcome to Off the Mat with Alex Slows, Josh Silverberg, and Lyle Gillen.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the only wrestling talk show here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome to Off the Mat. I'm Alex Slows. With me, my partner in crime up in New York, Long Island, is Lyle Gillen. How you doing, Lyle? How's your week been?
I'm doing wonderful. I can't wait for this weekend when I get to meet Darby Allin, Adam Cole, and I get to have a horrible time meeting MJF at Comic-Con. It's going to be terrible. He's disgusting. Can't wait to have a terrible time.
Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun at the meeting all the wrestlers for AEW. But before we get started, here's how you can follow us and Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You can follow the Worldwide Sports Radio Network on Twitter at WWSRN_radio. That is WWSRN_radio. You can follow us individually. Me at Show Slows on Twitter. Follow Lyle Gillen on Twitter at Lyle Gillen _, and follow Josh Silverberg at Josh Silverberg on Twitter. Also, don't forget to download the WWSRN app. It is absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything, and you get exclusive access to all of our content, including episodes you may have missed, clips from shows, replays of audio from our shows, also article blogs from all of our hosts here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, and show profiles and bios. So please be sure to download that app, and please always keep listening, always keep checking out the Worldwide Sports Radio Network as we continue to grow. And please, if you want to call into the show, you can. And I have Facebook up on my phone, so anyone who wants to leave a comment, I'll be able to read those comments as the show progresses tonight. So, Lyle, I'm going to hand it over to you. We are supposed to have a special guest, I think, but he hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah, if he's not here, we will wait for him. But Alex, why don't you tell us everybody about the website?
Yes, the Off the Mat WWSRN website. It is apps. We have the website link is in our Twitter bio at Off the Mat WWSRN. You click on that link, it'll take you to the Off the Mat website. You get a show and pay-per-view schedule for the months of September running into October for all the big wrestling events that are happening, as well as our show archive, which you can replay, and we have a show archive which you can click on and watch all of our past broadcasts, as well as check out all the past articles that me and Lyle have written. Those are available on the website as well. We have a contact page if you want to contact us directly and message one of us about being a special guest on our show. Also, we have I forget what else we have on that website, but I'm pretty sure it's
your website. What are you?
I'm blanking out. I'm always up to speed on it, updating it a lot. So please be sure to check that out. Got so much more content available for Off the Mat and here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
So how can everybody find the website, Alex?
It's in the Twitter bio, like our Twitter description.
What is that Twitter account?
Off the Mat, at Off the Mat WWSRN. I think I already said that.
So we're gonna talk about we're waiting for Alfred to come on.
We're waiting for Alfred.
Black representation in AEW, people of color representation in AEW, and we're gonna touch on NXT. We're gonna touch on AEW. Gonna be a fun
MLW,
interview. So stick around.
Fightland card.
But until he gets here, maybe you can tell everybody about MLW in the meantime.
Absolutely. So for MLW, they are having a show on Thursday, October 7th. It will air on Vice TV. It is a pre-taped, pre-recorded event. And the match card for this event, the first match is a title versus title match, Jacob Fatu against Alex Hammerstone. And the second match is an Opera Cup opening round match, Tom Lawler versus Davey Richards. Third match is Opera Cup as well, Bobby Fish against Lee Moriarty. The fourth match is an Opera Cup match, Calvin Tankman against Matt Cross. And then the fifth match is Opera Cup as well, TJP, the newest member of United Empire, against Alex Shelley. And then the MLW World Middleweight Championship match, Myron Reed will be defending his title against Aramis, Ariz, Tajiri, Holiday, and Nicole Savoy. And then the last two matches is Lost Parks versus 5150, and then the final match is a 12-man survival tag team match. So this sounds like it's going to be an amazing show. I cannot wait to see how all these matches take place, how they all go down, who fights to survive and comes out of this pay-per-view alive, and who is still champion at the end of this pay-per-view. So I am very much excited to see how that goes. I'm not sure what the time is on it, the air date, but I will find that soon. Hopefully, I'll get to you guys on that soon. So I believe our special guest is here now, Lyle, so I'm going to hand that over to you.
Well, thank you, Alex, and thank you for telling us about the fantastic MLW card. Looking forward to watching that. But our special guest of today is Alfred Canoe, and he is from the NXT recap show on Wrestling Inc., who we have had Raj Giri on a couple times, and he also works for Forbes. How you doing today, Alfred?
Good, man. Good to be here. Thanks, you guys, for having me. It's good to be on this show. I heard you guys talking about the MLW show. I'm very much looking forward to that on Thursday. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. We're excited to
no problem,
have you on
man.
the show.
We are excited to have you on. I've been excited about this interview all week because I've seen your profile. I've seen the picture up in your attachment that you had a one-on-one interview with Bret Hart. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that was a fun interview. That was in Calgary. I got to go to Canada to his home and interview him for an interview for Forbes a couple years ago. And that was really fun. I mean, he's a good interview because he talks a lot. He like kind of filibusters. So you're going to get a response, very long answers from Brett, but you get a lot of insight and information as to how he views the business. You know, he doesn't hold back in terms of the things that he says, and he's always a great interview.
That's amazing. I would like to hear that story eventually one time whenever we have you back on, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, all kinds. I got to see his pool table. He's got this awesome like pink and black pool table. Instead of a traditional pool table that, and then in the room, there's just pictures of Bret Hart everywhere.
Wow.
Well, I actually tried looking you up and finding out more information about you, and on YouTube, it popped up. You do stand-up comedy?
Oh yeah, definitely every night.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. I do it. My goal, in addition to a lot of the other stuff that I'm doing, is to be a stand-up comic. That's like the number one chief goal that I have. And I'm a stand-up comic. I consider myself a comedian and even a professional comedian. But I mean, just doing it exclusively as a living. And I would still be able to do like podcasting and the stuff I'm doing for Forbes because that's all digitally. But I just want stand-up to be a bigger part of my life. And throughout the pandemic, I really worked hard to continue to do stand-up and doing virtual shows and even some shows that they were having around the country wherever I could. But I absolutely love it.
Well, from what I've seen of you in your wrestling podcast and everything, you are very funny. So I think you're gonna be very successful in that.
Thank you, Lyle. I appreciate that.
No problem. I wanted to get in to the reason why we wanted to have you on. It's a very hot subject right now, is representation in AEW and in wrestling. I know I've spoken to you a little bit about it on Twitter. I think everybody agrees that WWE is heading in the right direction of having more representation, and AEW being the number 2 right now, they don't have as much. And I wanted to talk to you about where you think that issue really stemmed from. Do you think that came from them being a company that started from the indie scene? Because I remember being a part of, it was a Spaces on Twitter, and Swole was talking about it, and she talked about how difficult it is for people of color to really get booked on the indie scene. So I want your opinion on how you think that translated to AEW, on how that issue now is shown in AEW. Do you think that is a reflection of the indie scene?
Yes, you hit the nail on the head, Lyle, and so did Big Swole. And I don't want to villainize the indie scene because this is more of a product of professional wrestling as a whole. It all trickles down from the top. And not only WWE, but pro wrestling in general has a very ugly history of racism in the way that they portray and cast Black people, Latinos, all kinds of people, but particularly Black people get the brunt of that because we don't have that rich history. Latino talent, they do have like AAA and CMLL and places they can go that are predominantly Latino. Same with Japan, but Black people don't have that. And so the fact that we are marginalized like that in wrestling really hurts us. And and I do think that the fact that AEW leans into that indie mentality and the way that they do things on the indies, it is a reflection of that culture. And it is a predominantly white culture in terms of the indies and the people who get over in that type of wrestling and the people who they appreciate and the people who Tony Khan knows are going to be over from day one. So I do think that that's just a product of the system. And I don't think that AEW completely understood that when they started the company, because all this talk about them being so diverse, I don't even know if I'm sure they did have Black people in mind. Brady Rhodes was their first Black executive vice president of a national wrestling company, the way they like to tell everybody and pat themselves on the back for. But I don't think they understood the challenge that they are facing in terms of having Black people become a part of the system in terms of AEW. Me from the outside looking in, I don't think it should be that much of a challenge because I've seen people who aren't necessarily known on the wrestling scene go into AEW, like Jungle Boy, like MJF, like Orange Cassidy. They're not national major names, and they were able to make them into certifiable stars. Yet they get a little gun shy when it comes to Black talent, and that's something that we see to this day.
Mm-hmm. I do think they have gotten a little bit better. And if we look at how they're booking Will Hobbs, I think he's going to be the guy to take the belt from Sammy Guevara.
Oh, wow.
Well, he's a big heel right now. They're really pushing him as a heel. Sammy's the big face. I think it's a perfect marriage between them. eventually down the line. I know I've mentioned to you Lee Moriarty, and now you do the NXT post show, and I know you talk negatively of having all the a lot of people on Dark often. Now, what do you think the biggest difference is of when NXT was on the network and they had all the indie talent, and where AEW, they do have some good people of color that are talented, but they're mainly on Dark. So what is the big difference of when WWE would have that good talent on the network for NXT, and now how AEW is having that good talent on Dark?
Well, because like NXT is a different scenario than what AEW Dark is, because NXT is a developmental territory where a lot of people, that's pretty much what they tell you. I know the old NXT was a super indie, and it was put on national television to kind of go head to head with AEW. So NXT is really levels above what AEW Dark is, because the first couple of episodes of NXT did over 1 million viewers, and they were on USA Network, and they're much more prominent. And it's not like they're taking the Big E's and the Bobby Lashleys and the Bianca Belairs of the world and hiding them on NXT. You've got the biggies and the top stars in WWE in terms of the New Day and a lot of the black talent that they have on WWE's main roster. But at the same time, on NXT, they're developing talent too. And I think they're doing it in a good way, in that, right underneath, they've got Hit Row, they've got Odyssey Jones, and they've got a lot of diversity. And it's not seen as a way that, okay, we're just going to put all of our black talent on NXT and then we're going to have all the real stars on the main roster. If, these stars who are on the main roster right now that, I just mentioned, like Sasha Banks even, were all on NXT. Yes, then you'd be hearing from me. And, I don't think people will remember. I've been doing this for years in terms of, I used to be brutal on WWE for how I thought. What I'm doing right now and talking about AEW is child's play to some of the things I've said, frustrated with how WWE has portrayed black people. And so the difference there, I think, would be that NXT is way more, high profile than an AEW Dark in terms of its viewership, and B, it's a developmental territory that does not, apologize for being a developmental territory. That's what it's always been. And so, in addition to WWE having a main roster contingent that does have black stars who are able to thrive, they also have a developmental where you're starting to see guys like Odyssey Jones, Hit Row, a lot of different talents like that thrive on NXT.
Alex, you can go.
Yep. So my question is, how has the independent scene, how has it changed to give people of color more chances and exposure? Because there's actually 2 guys in the wrestling business that I know that I have worked with down here in Florida in the independent scene. They are Jake St. Patrick and I'm trying to, it'll come to me. Hold on. Jake St. Patrick, and I know it takes me a little bit to process his name, but he's well known down here. He's been a cruiserweight champion for ACW, and I feel like if AEW and Tony Khan gave these 2 guys a chance to move up from the AEW Dark roster onto Dynamite, I feel like they could get more exposure there. Because I haven't seen many matches from them in AEW Dark, and that's kind of disappointing to me because they're very talented guys. They bust their butts every day.
Yeah, to your point, Alex, I don't think people understand that there is a lot of talent in general on the indie scene, but also black talent. I get this all the time where people are like, well, who are all the talented black athletes that are around there on the indie scene? There's plenty of them. I was singing Lee Moriarty's praises, weeks before he got signed by AEW. And all we really need is an opportunity. All any talent really needs is a platform to shine and a commitment from AEW. This is a worked sport. This is fake professional wrestling where you can manipulate a lot of situations to make people stars when you feel they're fit. Okay, so all the excuses about them being green or not ready and this, that, and the other, I just don't understand why black talent has to be so prepared and ready and perfect before they get the push, whereas Jungle Boy still has a lot of flaws in his game, especially, as a promo that they are able to mask effectively and make him into a star. So all you really need is an opportunity. Dante Martin, 1 minute and 21 seconds. I timed it. He had a comeback for 1 minute and 21 seconds, completely tore the house down, really became what I thought was an overnight sensation, and then he just disappeared from television. You're telling me they couldn't have capitalized on that by having him do that same thing for a minute and 21 seconds? For 81 seconds, you could make 81 seconds for him to do that again and maybe slowly develop his promo skills, or if he can't cut a promo as well, put him with somebody who can, like they do with Jungle Boy, and hide that weakness and really commit to that. And I'm sure they're going to do that in time, but I don't think that's a viable excuse either in terms of, well, let's just wait it out and see, because that's never been a great formula for Black people.
Yeah, and I feel like putting Jake St. Patrick and Sage Scott, that's who it is, Sage Scott. If you moved them up to the main roster and gave them a chance against a tag team like Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, you got something really good there. You really do.
Absolutely. Yeah, certainly. And, all you need to do, because this is a wrestling company, it's a television company, maybe not just throw them out there cold so nobody knows who the hell they are, but tell us who they are, give them a little mic time, do something, a gimmick maybe to get us interested in these characters, and then put them out there against more of the prominent tag teams, and they don't necessarily have to win. I'm not even asking for a world champion. I'm not asking, this guy's got to win this title. This guy's got to win that title. I'm asking for character development. I'm asking for fully developed character. I know where Britt Baker's from. I know everything about Britt Baker because they tell me. She's from Pittsburgh. She's a god over there. I don't know where the hell Will Hobbs is from. I don't know who Lee Johnson's daddy is. I know who Jungle Boy's daddy is. Like, they don't tell us anything about these guys.
No, that's very true. They did have that segment, though, with Lee Johnson at one point, when he explained why he's called Big Shotty. But besides that, I don't think they ever have really shown background of people that aren't the white young talent that they have. Mm-hmm. But now I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you have made this observation that I have that WWE did. And when they were releasing and doing the mass releases, they really didn't release many Black people.
Right.
The majority of the people they released were white people. Mm-hmm. And if you going back, Nick Khan said that he wants to start making WWE more diverse. Now, if I remember back Eric Bischoff, when he wanted to compete with WWE, he said that they wanted to be as completely different from WWE as possible. So do you think this is something similar that WWE is intentionally doing when they were releasing people? They were releasing their top white talent so that then they could make that distinction between AEW and WWE.
That's an interesting point you bring up, Lyle. I've never really thought about that, but now that you bring it up, in terms of WWE, I don't think that they're saying, okay, AEW is a white company, we're going to do that. I don't think very much a lot of people have kind of noticed that about AEW until certain people started making a little bit noise about it. I think WWE has always wanted a certain type of, maybe not always, but they've always wanted a certain type of diversity in terms of different cultures. Like, we want Hispanic talent to connect with our Hispanic markets. We want Chinese talent to connect with our Chinese market, this, that, and the other. So they've always had an eye on being like a global company so that they can go around the world, get some Saudi Arabian talent maybe. So that's always been part of their blueprint in terms of being a company that's eclectic. In terms of all these releases, I think the reason that not a lot of Black talent got released, it's funny because it speaks to the benefit of the doubt that white people get in terms of they have so many people signed because maybe they saw white talent like, oh, you know what? He might not have something, but let's just see what he's got and we'll sign him. I don't think we get that benefit of the doubt. Again, Black talent has to be perfect. Any Black talent who got signed by WWE is somebody that they probably said, okay, well, this guy's great. He's twice as good as as other guys that were competition. So let's sign him, and they have a plan for him. So there are so few Black people talent signed that I think that the people that they sign who are Black talent are people who are so good and so much better, that they were able to get into WWE, and that's why that they still have a job. In terms of a lot of the white talent, you don't have to be as good. I think it's easier to get the benefit of the doubt. And once it's proven that maybe you weren't as good as they thought you were, okay, then they'll cut bait. But I don't think it's viewed with Black talent that same way. With Black talent, if they sign you, you have to be Gable Steveson, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Bobby Lashley, he has the greatest physique I've ever seen in my life. Bianca Belair, one of the greatest athletes to ever walk through WWE. They have that Lash legend, that 7-foot woman who used to play in the WNBA. Probably the greatest athlete who's ever come through WWE. Montez Ford, the greatest athlete, same thing. Kofi Kingston, we've seen him in the Royal Rumble, one of the greatest athletes you'll ever see. Big E, one of the strongest men you'll ever see. Mark Henry, the strongest man in the world. Look at all these accolades. The Miz isn't the strongest anything in the world. You know, the Miz is just Miz, and he's very talented and charismatic, but there's nothing larger than life or superhuman about them guys like Miz or a Buddy Murphy or anything like that. So yeah, those guys will get cut bait. But if you're black, if you want to get signed by WWE, you better be the greatest something of all time.
Yeah, kind of like Ahmed Johnson if you look back into like the Attitude Era days.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that guy, and it's funny because he didn't age well, but that's like one of the first wrestlers that made me think of wrestling in terms of racially. Like, I was a Hulk Hogan guy. I was a Macho Man Randy Savage fan, huge Sting fan, huge Ultimate Warrior. And I didn't even, you know, when I was a kid, you don't really understand like race or stuff like that. And once I saw Ahmed Johnson start getting a push and winning, it felt really good. Like, it was like watching a member of your family win. And so it's like, oh, wow, man, this needs to go on a lot more.
Absolutely. And one of my next questions is, how would you compare black wrestlers of today to the past ones? Similar, kind of like Tony Atlas and Soulman Rocky Johnson. How would you compare tag teams like that to tag teams like the New Day?
Well, I think it's night and day in a lot of ways. In terms of the New Day is presented as like ambassadors to WWE in addition to being this great tag team, this all-time great tag team. WWE ranked them as their greatest tag team of all time, which surprised me. And, you know, I would tend to agree in terms of them at least being a top 5 tag team. But New Day also is out there. They've got their own podcast. WWE sends them out on media tour. You can tell WWE loves them. They merchandise them. And then the tag
down their own YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Up, down, down. This is a global brand, the New Day, in terms of how WWE has marketed and fostered them. And in terms of Tony Atlas and Soulman Rocky Johnson, you know, they're just two black guys who won a tag team title, and it's like, good for you. But, you know, there was only so far that they were going to go. So they were not three-dimensional. They were just two incredible athletes who, you know, trailblazers for sure, but did not get the type of opportunities that the New Day is getting now in terms of being a fully fleshed out team where not only are they great tag team, they're very funny. They get to cut promos. They get to be ambassadors for the company. And so you're seeing a lot more in terms of the full spectrum of what they can offer as a talent to WWE. So that's a great question. And that would be a big difference between those two teams.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited to see the thing that's airing on Netflix, Escape the Undertaker with the New Day.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've talked to a lot of people, you know, wrestling fans. You guys know they can be so cynical about everything and like, oh, that's gonna suck. A lot of people are really excited about this, and myself included, because I grew up in the '90s, which was the choose your own adventure books and stuff like that. And so that's what this is gonna be. So I'm really excited about that in terms of seeing the different possibilities. I might write a piece in terms of like, here's where it goes if you go here and there, and some of the greatest selections you can make, and maybe come up with the perfect scenario that you can choose for the perfect Escape the Undertaker movie.
It's going to be great. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be received very well by Netflix and wrestling fans around the world.
Yeah. I love that it's on Netflix too. So it's in front of a bigger audience. I know wrestling tends to be niche, and even on Netflix, it's probably just going to attract wrestling fans. But I mean, you're talking about hundreds of millions of people who watch Netflix who, you know, Netflix has that new thing that it says play something where it'll automatically show you something. And it does favor a lot of the newer content. So maybe somebody doesn't know what to watch on Netflix, which is a lot of us, right? And you do play something and it shows you this thing and you're just like, what is going on here? Well, I'll give this a chance. And maybe you end up liking it.
I hope so. They definitely need more viewers, WWE, right now. They've lost so much since the pandemic.
Yeah, they have. The past couple of years, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Several years.
So I want to get to my next question. Now, AEW has signed a bunch of top talent coming out of WWE. And they've been putting them on every show, which we have all seen and talked about. It's taken away opportunity from some of their black younger talent. Do you think any of this is coming from TNT, that they want to take the established names and have them on the card over taking some of the younger guys and bringing them up? Because they have no problem having Hobbs on every week. Lee Johnson is just coming back on every week. He's been on a few times the last month and a half. So do you think that TNT is any part of why some of these guys aren't getting these opportunities?
necessarily. I do think that TNT definitely sees values in, especially when it comes to the bigger names like Sting. Like I know TNT was very upset when they just rolled out Sting and didn't advertise it. And, guys who could pop a rating, well, why wouldn't they be? I have no problem. And I want to make it very clear about when I'm talking about AEW and the racial disparities and stuff like that. I'm not saying Jungle Boy needs to go away and these guys need to replace all these guys. I'm very much happy with how AEW has run their business and presented pro wrestling. I think it's a very entertaining product. I wouldn't be advocating for black people to be featured in AEW if I didn't think it was entertaining, because I want to be entertained by what they're doing right now and by my own people. I think TNT definitely has a part in this, in that they want more established names on there, but if any television company is going to do that, I think it's up to AEW to foster and create a lot of those names. And I don't think TNT would ever step in and say, wait a minute, we don't know who this guy is, pump the brakes on that guy. It's up to AEW as bookers, as carnies, really, who their job is to present this talent to people in a way that's going to get you to invest. That can be done with a lot of people, pretty much anybody who's on the roster right now. I mean, they wouldn't have signed these people to the roster if they didn't think that it could be done in terms of, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to come up with a character for this person, I'm going to give them TV time, I'm going to invest. And so I think AEW shares most of that blame, and TNT is they're just networks, they're bean counters, they're counting money. And I don't think that they're looking in this in the way that, well, we need this certain demographic in terms of people who we want on our network.
Alex, you can go.
So my next question is, what did you think of Scorpio Sky? His change from earlier in AEW when he first came in, and he was a tag team champion for a while. How have you seen his character development? Like, what have you seen him improve on so far?
No, I mean, I haven't seen his character develop. Like, I mean, in recent weeks, he's been cool. Yeah, I really, because Dan Lambert is one of my favorite things on it. He's such a great promo in terms of the passion that he pours into his promos and how good he is. And I think that's been really good for both him and Ethan Page, who I really like. But in terms of character development, like, that's so funny. That's what's so funny about when people say, well, Scorpio Sky, what about Scorpio Sky? First tag team champion. What about that? Yeah, and then what? And then what did he do? What did they do with that? Like, he was tag team champion, and then when it went to FTR, went to the Young Bucks or whatnot, and then they became... Yeah, exactly. And then they just kind of shuffled him off, and there was no character for Scorpio Sky. I remember they were doing a couple of weeks of those kind of sit-down interviews with Scorpio Sky where he's talking about his life. And that's when I'm like, okay, cool. They're doing something. They're creating a character. But then they just dropped that cold. And since then, I mean, I can't tell you much about Scorpio Sky in the context of his character of AEW. I've seen the guy wrestling for years across the indies and stuff like that. And I know that he's super talented and a very dynamic performer in terms of somebody who's very funny. He's one of my favorite characters in Being the Elite in that era prior to AEW coming on. I thought the sketches they would do with him and Frankie Kazarian were absolutely hilarious in the chemistry that they had. But I haven't seen that side of Scorpio Sky until recently, where they're now starting to put him with Dan Lambert and have him talk more. And so I really do hope they invest more in that guy, because he's a talent.
Yeah, he really is. He's somebody I want to see grow. I want to see more of him on the mic, like more promos from him, because we haven't been seeing much of that lately. And then there is one partnership I do want to see in the future with AEW, and that's a partnership between MLW, because it could open a door for superstars like Calvin Tankman, who could come in and do some work with Scorpio Sky and Will Hobbs up there.
Yeah, EJ Ndoku is another one who he was in WWE, and you would think that is a prototypical WWE talent. This guy's ripped to shreds, turns heads in an airport, as they like to say. He's got a great look in MLW. He slipped through the cracks, and he's like a draft pick for them, like a blue chipper that I think is going to thrive in MLW. I don't expect to see MLW and AEW working together anytime soon, because there's a lot of bad blood there. I don't know if you guys knew, but I'm friends with, I like Court Bauer, very friendly with him, and we talk, and he's not very pleased with the amount of talent that in his regard has been stolen from MLW.
Oh,
MJF was In MLW, he had a contract,
Pillman.
somehow ended up in AEW, became a big star there. Same thing with Brian Pillman Jr., which actually kind of got ugly behind the scenes. And I think that MLW is a little miffed that AEW has been able to kind of finagle this talent over there. And I don't think they would have a working relationship anytime soon, but you never say never. Especially in the world of wrestling, there can always be a working relationship. We heard MJF shout out MLW on AEW TV. And I think that was, again, he shouted out Bruce Pritchard too. I think that was kind of an inside thing that we all know how much WWE and AEW will never work together. For him to say MLW, I think is along that same vein that, MLW is kind of doing their own thing right now. And I think they're doing a really good job and they're thriving. I really want more and more people to get invested in MLW because they're doing it right. And they're doing a lot of innovative things that I think are going to be stolen by the mainstream companies over the next year or so.
So I want to kind of segue to your opinions on NXT because you do the NXT post-game show, and I want to know what you think right now of NXT 2.0. What do you think of that compared to what it was? Where do you think that show is going? And can we all agree the name Braun Breaker is absolutely horrible?
Yes, we can. Yes. Especially because he is such a Steiner in every way.
Oh, he's
looks
got
like
it.
his dad,
He's
talks like his uncle, works like both combined. Like he's an incredible worker in terms of where he is right now to the experience he has. I mean, I love Braun Breaker, but I hate that name, and a lot of people do. Rick Steiner was such a badass name. That's such a name, like that's the name I think Rick Steiner would have legitimately named him. Like, you know what I mean? So yes, the name sucks. I love Braun Breaker. NXT 2.0 is interesting because I like it like the way I like Rocky Horror Picture Shows, where it's just this 2-hour long train crash in some ways, where they're throwing all this stuff at you. And I really do think they need more focus, and there's a lot that stands to improve. But I have fun watching it. I don't really take myself too seriously watching NXT 2.0. And I do have fun watching NXT 2.0 because some of the wacky stuff they do actually ends up working. A lot of the comedy they do, I think, ends up working. NXT comedy kicks the hell out of what WWE does on the main roster, I think, most weeks. And I just think that they need more focus. They need to decide which one of these guys right now in this first wave are you going to push? Because that's the thing about what made NXT so special. They had their different classes, right? And their different eras. They had the Bayley and Sasha era. Then they had the era where Shayna Baszler was dominating. Then they had the era where Asuka was dominating. Then they had the era of the Undisputed Era. And so it's different groups of people who then get to graduate to the main roster. And this version, it's like they're trying to do all these eras at the same time. And you're just seeing all these characters being thrown at you and all these promos in all these segments. And I feel like there's not a lot of focus, but it can be a lot of fun. It kind of feels like an indie Rithic kind of thing, but at the same time, it's just wacky, like a Chikara. That's what I'm trying to say. Like how Chikara was, where Chikara can be really fun and really funny, but it can be really bad when they're really trying to go for that wacky, over-the-top type comedy.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, and I agree with the statement about Braun Breaker. He has everything that a Steiner has. Like he had. Even his shinglet, it looks exactly like Rick's shinglet in the 90s when he tagged with his brother.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a carbon copy. It's so weird watching him. It's uncanny, just how he works like his father, just how explosive he is, and he's got the muscle bound, physique. And
the powers too. You can see him when he presses somebody over his head. It's unbelievable the strength he has.
Yeah, and I just love watching the guy, and I see what they see in him. But again, this is classic WWE. When they get excited about somebody, they just start overthinking it, and they overmanage and micromanage, and we got to change his name. And then, next thing they're going to shave his head. They're going to shave his beard. Then they're going to say, don't talk like your uncle. You got to talk like this. Talk slower. Don't yell as much. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I hope that they don't micromanage him to death.
I hope they really don't.
I think you just need seasoning, and then you just put him on the main roster the way he is.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. Don't.
Yeah.
Alex, you can go.
So going off the NXT 2.0, how would you compare the NXT 2.0, the NXT we have now compared to NXT when it originally started, like NXT Arrival? Do you think they could do something similar with that? Come up with a pay-per-view show similar to that design, but not exactly the same name, just like a different flavor, a different idea of it?
That's the $1 million question when it comes to NXT is what's going to happen at TakeOver? What is going to happen to the pay-per-view model? And WWE has been radio silent in terms of how that's going to work. Like, what are all these TV segments building toward? And I think they need that in place. They need something in place in terms of we're going to have a pay-per-view here and there because the ratings fell off a cliff last week. And, they're starting to kind of lose viewers. And if you don't have a direction as to what you're building toward, you're not going to have an audience. That's the foundation of wrestling, whether you're building to a big live show that's going to sell a bunch of tickets, a big pay-per-view that's going to sell a bunch of buys, a big television show. You need to build towards something, and I just don't see that with NXT. They're just throwing stuff at you, but they're not creating these storylines that, okay, this is going to go from week 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to pay it off here. They don't have any of that. And, until they do establish whether it's an arrival, like you said, but or a takeover or whatever they end up calling it, takeover 2.0, they need something in place to where they're saying we're building toward this. Because then, given where the ratings are right now, I don't think it's going to help that people don't know where this is going.
Absolutely. And they need something that can draw an audience. They need they need star power. They need guys that are going to draw people to these pay-per-view crowds and want to be there for these pay-per-views live and in person. And right now,
and that's a good point. And to your point there, they needed to, I think in the draft, they make a big mistake by not having main roster guys go to NXT. This is a perfect opportunity to take maybe a Cesaro and Apollo Crews, people who they're not doing anything with on the main roster, putting them in NXT because these are names that people who watch the main roster product are going to recognize, and they could be these kind of veterans. It just can't be all these NXT veterans because that's only going to have so much of an audience. They really need main roster people on that show because 655,000 in your third week is not good at all.
No, it's not. It's not going to make the cut on the demographic or TV rating.
Yeah.
And if you go back to when they had Sasha and Bayley on there, when they were the tag team champions, they did some of their best numbers when they were competing with AEW.
Yes.
So that should tell them they should have more guys from the main roster on NXT.
And I don't know why they're not doing that now. I think they were just too prideful and they didn't want to have to take their big guns to have to compete with AEW. I think they would have rather have had NXT beat AEW. I know for a fact that WWE's dream and their plan was we're going to take this tertiary show. We're going to take this third-rate show of ours, and that's going to beat AEW because we're WWE and that's how we roll. And that didn't happen. And I just think it was arrogance that not only the Sasha Banks show, but they had Becky Lynch on a show one week and it did better. I think AJ Styles was on a show one week and it did better. So that formula does work when you have main roster people there. And I do think they should be cycling main roster guys in and out. Even if they're not like members of the NXT roster, you need to have main roster people on this show. It's becoming patently obvious.
So I want your opinion, and it's one of the biggest talked about subjects right now. And he was one of the biggest stars in NXT history. Is Kevin Owens in his contract? In your opinion, where do you think he's going to end up after his contract ends? Because Sean Ross reported it's going to be ending at the end of January. Do you think he goes to AEW and jumps ship over there? Do you think he stays? And what do you think the ripple effect would be if he does go to AEW?
I don't think there's going to be much of a ripple effect, but sure, why not? I mean, he is the AEW prototype. He's a guy who got over in Ring of Honor 10 to 15 years ago, and they're signing guys like that left and right unless you're Jay Lethal. They don't sign him, but they want to sign Adam Cole, and they've got Bryan Danielson, they've got CM Punk, and Kevin Owens was in Mount Rushmore with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, so maybe they recreate that. But I could see Kevin Owens in AEW. I'm watching Kevin Owens these past few weeks, especially last night, and he just looks checked out. He looks like he doesn't want to be there anymore. He looks like he doesn't care. And I know that was part of the segment last night in terms of him just kind of shrugging his shoulders and being aloof. But, I mean, it just doesn't look like he's got a purpose there. And I think he realizes that it's, they're not really doing much with him. He just lost the feud to, this comedy character and Happy Corbin and this, Madcap Moss, whatever they're doing with that. And I just think that we'll see with Kevin Owens. I think that would be a great candidate of somebody to go down to NXT 2.0. I think that would reinvigorate him. But I don't know if he'd take offense to that or whatnot. I know he does love NXT, and he does have a great history in NXT. But we'll see, man. I think AEW would be the favorite to get Kevin Owens come 2022, especially if WWE continues to book him kind of like an afterthought.
I agree.
I agree.
Alex, you want to? No?
Yep. So my next question has to do with the promo from AEW last week, the one with Arn Anderson and Cody Rhodes. I saw Lee Johnson in the background, just like trying to decide, hey, do I agree with Arn or do I agree with Cody? I can see he's kind of mixed between the two.
Yeah, the most funny about that is that after he cuts his promo talking about his Glock, which I just thought was such a great promo. I'm gonna get that T-shirt. I know people were kind of put off by the fact that Arn's talking about his Glock, but let that man live. Arn can do whatever he wants. But the funny part about that, to your point about Lee Johnson, is he just goes, "Come on, Lee." And Lee's just kind of like, it's almost you can see his internal monologue, like, "Hey, man, I'm just gonna go with the guy who's got the Glock." Like, no offense, Cody, but unless you have an AK-47 or something like that, I'm going to go with the guy who has the Glock. You know, I would have done the same thing probably.
Well, Alfred, I want to say thank you for you taking the time out of your day and coming on.
Yeah, we got to do this again, man. You guys are great. This is just a lot of fun.
We've had Raj come on a couple times. We've had a couple other guys come on a few times. We would love to have you come back on. I know Josh was looking forward to talking to you, but he had an emergency he had to take care of. So thank you again. You're a great person to talk to. I really enjoyed this. So
yeah, thank you. And you're always welcome back on anytime, man. Don't be a stranger with us. Feel free to connect with us on Twitter. And before you go, how can the listeners and followers of our show find you on social media?
Absolutely. Follow me on Twitter at This Is Nasty, YouTube Pro Wrestling Bits. I have a lot of fun there. I'm on Wrestling Inc. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, covering NXT, AEW, and then Smackdown and Rampage. And it's been a lot of fun here. Next time I come on, I'm going to be on a laptop, and then I'm going to have better lighting too, because I kind of look like the Black Undertaker here. But we'll make sure that we have great lighting and everything. And this has been a lot of fun talking to you guys, though. It looks like you guys have a great thing going here. You guys are clearly knowledgeable about the wrestling product, and you really asked a lot of questions that like unlocked a lot of thoughts that I didn't know I had. So this is always the best form of the interview, is when you kind of challenge me to think and like, oh, wow, that's actually an interesting point or interesting question to bring up.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on with us, and hopefully we can do this again in the near future, man.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. That was Alfred Canoe, the podcast. He's part of the Wrestling Inc. podcast, and he's a writer for Forbes. What did you think about that interview, Lyle? What did you think about the questions he went off from us, like the answers that he gave us?
That was probably one of the most fun interviews we've ever done.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun talking to him.
I loved it.
Yeah, he's a very what's the right word? Had a great personality, and he's very he can carry conversation. He's fun to talk to. I like that. I really enjoyed it. And you know, it's sad because a lot of people on Twitter think he hates AEW or he's this anti-AEW guy because he calls how it's an issue in AEW, which he said it isn't a AEW sole issue. It's a professional wrestling industry issue, and it's not true that he hates AEW. He likes the product, as he said here. But no, he's a great guy to talk to. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to have him back on. But
absolutely, next time we have him on, I want to hear his like the full story about the sit-down interview with Bret Hart.
I would love to hear about that. You could have asked him now before we went.
Yeah, I could have. I could have done that. So we're going to go to break, but when we come back, we'll get into AEW Dynamite from this week. We'll talk about Bobby Fish and what's in store for him on this coming episode of AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. We'll get into some news on Lana teasing possibly joining AEW, and then we'll get into Dark Side of the Ring and our This Week in Wrestling history and the finishing move. So stick with us here on Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. the Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Cold Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
Huh, so it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the worst town I've ever been in. No! Everybody's got a rise. The champ is here. Now welcome back to Off the Mat with Alex Slows, Josh Silverberg, and Lyle Gillen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Off the Mat here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Again, I'm Alex Slows. With me is Lyle Gillen. And before we get back into our topics, again, here's how you can follow us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You can follow us on Twitter at WWSRN_radio. Follow me on Twitter at Show Slows. Follow Lyle on Twitter at Lyle Gillen _. And follow Josh Silverberg at Josh Silverberg. Also, please be sure to follow us on Twitter at Off the Mat WWSRN. And follow the Worldwide Sports Radio Network on Facebook as well. And don't forget to download the WWSRN app. It is absolutely free. You get our show schedules, show bios. You get all of our episodes you may have missed, including clips from our show and more information and articles. So please be sure to download that app. It is available on Apple iPhone. It is available on Google Play in the App Store as well. So please be sure to check that out. Also, check out the Off the Mat WWSRN website. It is available in our Off the Mat Twitter bio. You click on that website, it'll take you to the Off the Mat website. We have a show and pay-per-view schedule for the month of September leading into October. Then we have a show archive for all of the episodes that we have done here on Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Also, we have a special guest interview archive as well, where you can see all the special guests that we have had so far here on Off the Mat, and check out our contact page. That all of that is with a click of that link. So please check everything out, because as we continue to grow as a network, everything is going to get better from here, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's time to get into the G1 Climax 31, and it's looking pretty close, Lyle. A lot of people have been scoring some points.
I saw Chase Owens beat Tanahashi.
Yeah, that surprised me.
In less than 11 minutes, he beat him. That
blew me away. I was very surprised by that. I thought Chase was going to be able to hold his own there. Keep on.
Are we going to get a Chase Owens push? Is Chase Owens going to no longer be the jobber
I
of
don't know
Bullet
what's
Club?
going to happen. I have no idea.
Well, if you did know, I mean, that would make you Gato, and we would be talking a lot more than just G1, my friend.
Mm-hmm. And here's the updated card for Block A and Block B, the scores. In the A block, Kodabushi has 8. Great-O-Khan has 8. Kenta has 8. ZSJ has 8. Shingo Takagi has 6. Tomoro Ishii 6. So Ishii's gaining some leverage here in the G1. Toru Yano has 6. Tangaloa has 4. Yujiro Takahashi has 4. And Naito is at 0 because he is out on the injured list. Block B, Jeff Cobb has 10. Okada has 10. Evil has 8. Hiroshi Tanahashi has 6. Sonata has 4. Taichi has 4. Tamatonga has 2. Yoshihashi has 2. Chase Owens has 2. And Goto has 2. So
I'm shocked with Goto.
Goto's making his. Goto has to kick it in gear, man.
Because the G in G1 stands for Goto. So
yeah. Right now it's looking like to me, because I remember I posted something on Twitter like 2 months ago. I had 2 people I wanted to win this G1. So I picked Evil and Great O'Khan, and I can tell you right now they're very close to the gap here, neck and neck, because they both have 8 points.
Who do you think wins the whole fucking thing? The whole fucking show? Who gets it?
I would say. Who am I looking? I'd say Great O'Khan. It would be down to Great O'Khan and Okada. Yep, those would be the last two.
So we both think that Okada is going to win the whole thing, right?
Yep.
They're not going to take Great O'Khan and
no, they're not going to let Great O'Khan win
and put him in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom when they're having probably the
worst year with so many injuries and the pandemic. Yeah, they're not going to let Great O'Khan win. No.
I think it'll be a solid match, him and Shingo. You can't really have a bad match with Shingo Takagi, but I think that Okada.
Yeah, Okada's going through.
Shingo Okada. I put them both together. Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know how that won't be match of the year. I can't see it not getting it. I still think match of the year right now is Jay White and Ibushi. That match was phenomenal. And this is like the second year in a row where New Japan has the match of the year at Wrestle Kingdom right after the year starts. And it's like, follow that in the next 360 days.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy.
It's been a great G1 so far. I'm really loving it.
Yeah, it's been amazing. This has been one of my favorite G1s the past 2 years that they've had this tournament. Like since I started watching New Japan. Yeah.
How long ago did you start watching?
Oh, I started watching probably 2019. Yeah.
I started around 2018. Just after, what got me into it was the Kenny Omega Okada number 4. And then I went back and watched other stuff and watched a bunch more. And it's just so good. I think that the 2010s were 100% New Japan's era. They won.
It was.
They were the best promotion of that decade. And honestly, I wish
I don't know
Shibata
what they're doing now. Like it's sad to
trying
see
to find someone
Yeah.
else that can be the big name since they lost Omega. But it's a shame because I wonder what would have happened if Shibata didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did have Hiroki Goto up there for a while. I don't know what happened. Like they had so much momentum on him. They had him winning a bunch of matches for a long time, and now he's just at the bottom. Like why?
They do that though. Yeah. So, what do you think of the friend of our show? And this is going to be this will be our segue into AEW.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the friend of the show, Leo Rush? He's officially all elite. What do you think, Alex?
I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him. I cannot wait to see what they do with him. And I think a good startup match for Leo Rush for AEW would be to put him against Will Hobbs. I honestly think that would be an amazing match because they
Starks.
Huh?
Ricky Starks.
You can put on Ricky too.
Oh,
I'm not
that would
ruling
be
Ricky
amazing.
Starks out either.
I think that would be phenomenal. I think those two could.
Yeah, they could definitely go at it because they have a similar style. They have the similar wrestling background, and you put those two guys together, you have a really good match. You really do.
Yeah, they do. I think Ricky Starks is probably the most underrated guy in AEW right now. I think he is a main event talent.
Yeah, he is, and I'm wondering what have they done so far of him because I haven't seen him on TV lately.
I think he got hurt again. Or no, I think Brian Cage is not 100%, so they're keeping him off TV to. So
that would make sense. Yeah,
he can come back and continue that feud. That's what I believe. I could be wrong.
So getting into AEW, what was your favorite part of the whole show? Because I could tell you right away, my favorite part of the whole event was Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole. The stuff they were just throwing at each other, the the amount of like moves, like the overhead belly to belly suplex or the snare trap that he got out of in the Panama Sunrise, they were just neck and neck, throwing everything they had at each other, and nobody was backing down. Nobody was stepping off the gas.
I have to say I did not like how they had someone kick out of the Panama Sunrise so soon. I think they should have kept that as something that was a really
I
strong
think they could have ended the match right there. But
what I do want to say is I am so excited for Sammy Guevara winning. He is extremely good. He deserves it. And now AEW has 3 minorities as champions out of their 4 belts. The Lucha Bros and Sammy Guevara. He is Cuban American, so he's of Cuban descent. But I think Sammy Guevara is a great talent. I think he's over as can be, and he deserved it. Like I mentioned when we were talking with Alfred, I think Hobbs is a guy who is going to take the belt off of Sammy. I think it's night and day. The way they're building Hobbs up as a big heel, the big face that Sammy is, I think it'll be Hobbs that eventually takes it off of him. Maybe not right now, down the road, but yeah, I think it'll definitely be Hobbs. I would love to get your opinion on what you think of Miro's title reign and what you think of Sammy Guevara winning.
So Miro, his title reign as TNT champion was amazing. I thought it was a great run for him for a while. They made him look strong. They made him look over, and they made him look like a superior athlete. WWE had that niche with him for a while, but then they lost it. They lost the grip on Miro, and then Miro eventually got tired with what he was doing there, and that's why he went to AEW for that reason, because he wanted to get a better opportunity and see how he could run with his character there, and it paid off for him, and he got a title opportunity out of it, and he got to be a champion for a while, so that was great for him. And I think when you have Sammy Guevara as new champion, it's amazing. I cannot wait to see what he does against Bobby Fish. This is going to be an amazing matchup. That's my house phone. I forgot to unplug it. Sorry about that.
I'm just like watching you talking. I hear that in the background.
Yeah, I can't figure out. I can't figure out which cord it is, but my dad tells me not to touch it, so I don't touch it. But anyway, going back to that,
take it off the hook.
But going back to this match, I don't care who wins this match as long as it's entertaining, as long as they make it look good and they make both stars look good in the matchup and it's strong and it gets received well.
Who do you think the Joker is in the ladder match? Sorry to make a change like that, but who do you think the Joker is?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Hangman.
It could 100%. Be
Hangman Adam Page. I think that is money right now. I think it's perfect. And I think that I think he would have the biggest pop as can be right now. I think I'm that's what I'm looking forward for the most this week coming up is seeing Hangman come back.
Yeah.
If it actually is Hangman.
But going back to the Bobby Fish match, what do you think of that match being announced, Lyle?
And I wanted to say when Alfred was on, but I completely forgot because he was talking about the MLW AEW kind of having a bad relationship.
And
it's kind of funny because Bobby Fish is signed with MLW now.
Yes,
and he's signed with MLW. He's talking about on his Twitter how the Forbidden Door is opening. Yeah, that is what he's talking about. He is opening the Forbidden Door, and then he went to AEW. Now he has an AEW shirt. So maybe things are warming up. Maybe they're getting a better relationship now.
They could be, but I wouldn't count on it yet. I wouldn't necessarily say it's safe to say yet. But I think this match is going to be unbelievable because you got two guys that are very experienced. Bobby Fish has been around the world just as much as Sammy Guevara, so this is going to be a great match. They're both high flyers. They're both good grapplers. They're great strikers in the ring, so it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in the end. But we all know it's going to be Sammy Guevara because they're not going to let him lose the title that early. No, it's not happening.
Do you think he could have a shorter title reign?
No, they're not going to do that to him.
And pass it over to Hobbs quicker?
They could, but I would like to see him run with it for at least a while before they hand it off to Hobbs.
I would agree. Now, when do you think that they put the belt on Hangman from Omega?
That's tough to say. Probably not Full Gear, but maybe Revolution.
I think it'll be a couple weeks after Full Gear.
Yeah.
I don't think Hangman wins the ladder match if he's in it. If he is, I think that he wins the title eliminator tournament, and that is how he gets his opportunity. Because it comes back full circle. They had the title eliminator match a year ago when it was him and Omega, and Omega won to get the belt. Now he lost an opportunity. Now, if he wins the tournament this time, he wins his opportunity and wins the belt from Omega. It tells a more complete story, in my opinion. I think it would be a great way to do it. I hope they do it because then I'll feel very smart. But you never know with AEW.
And what did you think about the Dark Order, their match against the Hardy Office? Because I thought that match was great, but I could tell there may still be some dissension in the Dark Order. And what they really need is some leadership. I think they need better leadership. I think, Bray Wyatt, if they sign Bray Wyatt and bring him over, that would be great to have win him as the leader of the Dark Order.
Did you watch Dark Elevation yesterday?
Elevation? No, I did not.
I don't know if it was on Elevation, or I don't know why I'm still doing this. Or if it was on Being the Elite. I think it was on BTE, where they kind of made up and they were all a big, giant, happy family cult again.
So there's no, well, there could be, but
if there is, it would really be weird because they just made up on BTE.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I was just going off what Excalibur said.
What's he say again?
That he said there could be could there still be dissension? Like he's thinking that it might.
If they made up on BTE, then maybe maybe not. I don't know.
But overall, this week's AEW Dynamite, I would give it a solid 8.7 out of 10. I think that's a fair rating for this show this week.
I'll agree. 8.5. Yeah, about that.
And then there's this rumor. There's this rumor about Lana possibly going over and joining Miro in AEW. What do you think about her going over and being added to the AEW women's roster if that happens?
I pray she never wrestles. I pray. I think she's terrible in the ring. Keep her out of it. She's there to stare at her when she's at the ringside of Miro. No offense to anybody watching, but no one wants to see Lana wrestle. Even when she was in WWE, no one really wanted to see her. No one cared about her wrestling. She's not good in the ring. There was literally a thing all over the internet about her legs. You don't remember that?
No, I don't. I don't recall ever seeing that.
Lana's legs? Oh, God. She always wore like a short skirt and had long legs.
But
she was with Miro.
Let's start to get into Dark Side of the Ring a little bit, if we can.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it about Anita, and I loved the episode, but at the same time, it all made sense to me because this is what gave deathmatch wrestling a start. This is what pushed the boundary for deathmatch wrestling and built a foundation around deathmatch wrestling today. And I think it's there's a lot of tragedy with FMW. There's a lot of tragedy with Onita because he got injured early on in his career, and then he came back for a little bit, and then he got hurt again, and then he started to pursue an acting career and retire, and then he came back after that. And then I forget which was it Terry Funk. Yeah, Terry Funk was in it for a while. Sabu was there. That's basically what made Sabu's career before he started in ECW. So it was an interesting Dark Side of the Ring episode.
It was definitely interesting. A lot of people were talking about how Nito was at fault. This was before the episode really. Before I saw the episode, people were talking about how Onita was at fault for what happened to Hayabusa and what happened to the announcer that he gave FMW to when he killed himself. I didn't see that having to do anything with Onita. I don't know how you can blame him for that, and how that can be his fault. How he could have any knowledge that any of that could happen. You can't really sit there and think, "Oh yeah, he's definitely going to go to work with the Yakuza. Hayabusa is definitely going to break his neck." You can't predict that.
No.
I didn't blame Onita for that, but it was a very good episode. Not one of my favorite ones because I like the really depressing ones. That's because I'm crazy. Just my opinion on.
I like the story that they told about Sabu and his career, though. The one where they said he got cut so badly by barbed wire that he needed to spend a night in a hospital, but they took so long to stitch him up. He just decided to patch him up using crazy glue.
I have so much more respect.
That's crazy.
Every time he got cut in a match, he would use crazy glue? Bruh?
I never would think of that. That's amazing.
I don't think any sane person would.
Sabu also wrestled. Yeah, and then it goes on because I'm looking at the description from the episode that he wrestled in one of the most infamous FMW matches, which is what it was a fire that went wrong.
Yep, that was cool to watch on TV. I did not watch the actual match. I do want to do that. And after seeing that, I wanted to go back and watch that and see what really happened. It was really cool.
Yeah, there's just there's a lot of story. I love how they tell the story and how they opened up the episode going into this story by introducing all these wrestlers and personalities and how all this began. And it says in the description, before ECW in the US, there was FMW in Japan.
Yeah.
So FMW was the
predecessor to ECW, pretty much.
Yeah, the backbone going into ECW.
It was very interesting seeing how much it inspired. I almost said expired. How much it inspired ECW. I did not realize that. And you know what? If without FMW, we probably don't have.
You don't have ECW. You would have never gotten ECW. Yeah.
You don't have GCW today.
You wouldn't have ECW at all.
Nope. You wouldn't have any of these good hardcore promotions that are out there. So yeah.
And then there's one in Florida too. It's I forget. It's called IRW or something like that.
What about the DWL down there in Florida?
I haven't heard of that one, but I know what IRW is.
Oh, okay. What about the FWD?
That one I haven't heard about either.
No? Oh. So you don't watch the TV show Heels?
I haven't. I have to start watching that. I heard it's really good though.
Well, those two promotions are from that show. So I was trying to bust your chops on that one. I assumed you would watch it, Alex.
No, I haven't watched that yet, but I've been watching a lot of Dark Side of the Ring and Monday Night Wars documentary.
Well, I gotta tell you, Alex, okay? I gotta tell you. You know what you should watch?
It's funny because I was talking to my dad about wrestling the other day, and my dad just like he'll listen, but eventually he'll just get tired.
He'll just
And
stop
he
giving
has
a
like
shit.
he's like, I have no idea who you're talking about. I don't know, like I don't even know who these people are, so it doesn't matter to me. And I'm just like, I mentioned to him Hulk Hogan when he first started wrestling in his early on in his career that his
Who?
Hulk Hogan.
I mean Hulk?
Yeah. So
Hulk!
I mentioned his manager. His manager was
Is that
no,
a Florida accent?
yeah. His manager was Freddie Blassie.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Freddie Blassie was Hulk Hogan's manager for a while early on. And then and then he started wrestling in Madison Square Garden where he had a match against Ted DiBiase in 1979.
Was that when he first started in WWF for the first time?
Yeah, for the first time.
Yeah. He had his things. I think he got
Classy
released
Freddie
in
Blassie.
'79, and then he went to AWA.
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely a good show, Heels. You should definitely watch it. You know what other show you should watch? Completely separate from wrestling. And I just finished watching it, and I can't wait for season 2 to one day eventually come out. Squid Game.
I'd have to check that one out too.
It's on
but
Netflix.
going back to Dark Side of the Ring, I found an article from Wrestling Inc. and it says Dark Side of the Ring FMW episode drew a record low for the series. And the FMW episode reached, if I go all the way down to where it mentions the average of that episode. Here we go. 126,000 viewers with a 0.04 rating in the 1849 demographic. That's for season 3. Yep. Yeah, it's really bad. Which one? I'm seeing which one had the most on average. Like which one had
probably Chris Benoit episode.
Or Chris Benoit
or Owen Hart.
Yeah, the Chris Benoit episode has definitely a lot more. By just by what I'm seeing, the Chris Benoit episode had 320,000 viewers with a 0.14 rating and an 1849 demographic. So it's beaten all the other episodes pretty much. Every episode that they've had. Because the other ones are between I would estimate 163 to 226, 229 around there. That's what I'm seeing.
It's
from
pretty
this,
crazy. I hear these numbers that their viewership did, and I'm like, what? That's really low.
Yeah, it is.
And then I think to myself, wow, what AEW and WWE gets for viewership is insane. And it makes me think, maybe the viewership for Rampage being 600 to 650 and them still being number in the top 3, top 4 of the charts every Friday is really, really, really good compared to what they would normally get in that time slot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested in knowing what they normally had in that time slot.
Yeah, it's maybe they were competing with something else during that time. That could be possible because it was on a Thursday, so they could have been competing with a different show.
No, Vice is not on.
No, here it is. Yeah, they were competing with NFL Thursday Night Football.
Oh well, yeah, but Vice is normally not a channel that everybody gets.
No,
I didn't even know I had it until I complained to Josh that Fubo got rid of it. That's how I watched Dark Side of the Ring.
Mm-hmm. And then they're competing with ABC too.
What was on ABC?
Grey's Anatomy on ABC topped the night on network TV. 18.
I bet you watched that.
No, I did not.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. It's just that's what it says here on the website, on the article that was.
I think you're looking at what you watched.
No, I'm not. This is from Wrestling Inc. This what date was this? October 4th. It was posted, so yesterday.
Did you give Raj that as like that's what was on because you were watching it?
No.
I think we should ask Raj.
If you want to, go ahead. But before we go to break, let's quickly talk about the WWE draft results.
Go for it, my man.
The SmackDown and Raw roster picks and the all undrafted superstars. So for the men's Raw, we have Big E, Randy Orton, Riddle, Edge, Keith Lee, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, AJ Styles, Omos, Kevin Owens, Montez Ford, Angela Dawkins, Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, Gable Stevenson, Drake Maverick, Reggie, Akira Tozawa, Chad Gable, Otis, R-Truth, John Morrison, T-Bar, Apollo Crews, Commander Aziz, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, Jackson Riker.
Why do you still call him T-Bar?
Huh?
I hate that name so much.
I don't know.
Like
Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, and The Miz. And then for the women's Raw roster, there's only 14 there. Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Nia Jax, Selena Vega, Doudrop, Dana Brooke, Liv Morgan, Mia Yim, Tamina, and Tegan Nox. For SmackDown, the men's 29 roster, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss, Isaiah Scott, Top Dollar, Ashante Diadonis, Jeff Hardy, Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso, King Nakamura, Rick Boogs, Sheamus, Eric, Ivar, Ricochet, Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, Cesaro, Ridge Holland, Sami Zayn, Drew Gulak, Mace, Mustafa Ali, Mansoor, Jinder Mahal, and Shanky. And for the SmackDown women's roster, Charlotte Flair, B-Fab, Naomi, Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Xia Li, Aaliyah, Toni Storm, Shotzi Blackheart, and Natalya. So I would say the best, I think which roster picks would who would I say has a better roster right now? I would say SmackDown. Yeah, SmackDown has better than Raw right now in the draft. Because what I'm seeing from the Raw men's is like, Yeah.
What in the hell kind of name is Happy Corbin?
I don't know. It's so stupid. Like, why did they keep changing around his gimmick? Dude, just stick with Baron Corbin. Just stick with his NXT gimmick. Like,
no, just make him fucking King Corbin again.
Yes, King Corbin. Like,
like that.
Stop messing around with it. Leave it be.
He was getting good heat.
Yeah, he was.
But
He was getting legit heat.
He's gone.
Yep.
Dumb.
It's so dumb. He was getting the best, overall, hated reaction, and now it's just, it's gone. But I'm interested to see how Hit Row, how they do on SmackDown.
They're getting a lot of heat now on Twitter or on social media. And it's
Why?
very interesting to watch. I think Top Dollar is kind of talking shit to people. And people are saying that
I think it's because Top Dollar has no filter.
No, what happened was pretty much. Well, I'll say he's not really talking shit. People are saying that they weren't ready.
They weren't ready for him, I guess.
No, for them to be on.
For them to be moved to SmackDown, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and they were anyway. So they're kind of taking that personal, and they're kind of. But I understand. I would too. I would believe in myself.
Yeah.
So what is your biggest head scratcher in the entire draft. What do you see and you're like, huh?
What I see that doesn't make sense is why do they have, let's see. Why don't they have Seth Rollins on SmackDown still?
What I want to know,
he was good there. Like, why did they move him to Raw? It's not going to make,
because nobody gives a crap about Raw and they want to make people watch it.
Yeah, because Raw's just a bad product right now. So if moving to Seth Rollins is just gonna moving Seth Rollins to Raw is basically going to kill his momentum. It's going to destroy his momentum with Edge and that whole story.
Well, didn't Edge go there too?
I think he did, yeah.
But this is what I want to. I had a question. I forgot it. Damn. You can keep going.
But what I am interested is I've been hearing a lot of rumors about this, but I am very skeptical of it, and I'm afraid that WWE is going to basically demolish this character and destroy it from the inside out. And by that, I mean Jeff Hardy's Will-O-the-Wisp character.
Oh, I would love that. But I don't want WWE having any control of it.
That's what I mean. I don't want WWE to take control of it because they're going to destroy it.
Bad. Maybe make him Brother Nero. That'd be cool.
But he has been talking about bringing that character to WWE. But
I know he said he wanted it. That's probably the only way he'll ever get a real push ever again is
with Willow.
Character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is Itchweed too. He can bring Itchweed.
How do you think that will get received?
I think it would be a mixed reaction. People would like it and people would hate it.
I think it will go over well, but he needs to have different attire than he had in TNA because TNA kind of looks like kind of junky, kind of indie. You need something better, and if he does that, then yeah, I think it'll go over very well.
Yeah, they could bring Itchweed in too, and kind of do something with that.
They could. Definitely.
So, yeah, that's the WWE draft update. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll get into this week in wrestling history. Maybe we'll get into some more breakdown of the G1, the matches, and then we'll get into our finishing move, and that will be the end of our show. So stick with us here on Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit them online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing. And in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Are you ready? Now welcome back to Off the Mat with Alex Slows, Josh Silverberg, and Lyle Gillen.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the final hour of Off the Mat. It is time to get into this week in wrestling history. This one is WWE in Your House 18 Bad Blood from Sunday, October 5th, 1997. It was in the Enterprise Center, a.k.a. now Scottrade Center, Kiel Center, Savvy Center in St. Louis, Missouri. The attendance was 21,151. The first match was D'Lo Brown, Kama Mustafa, and Rocky Maivia defeating Animal and Hawk, the Road Warriors, in a handicap tag match. The second match was Max Mini and Mini Nova defeating Mosaic and Tarantula in a tag team match. The third match was Henry O. Goodwin and Phineas I. Goodwin defeating Mosh and Thrasher, the Headbangers, for the WWF Tag Team titles. The fourth match was Owen Hart defeating Farouk for the WWF Intercontinental Title Championship, and that was a title change. Number 5 is 8-Ball, Chains, Crush, and Skull. LOD defeating, I think that was an LOD. Yeah, it could have been. Defeating Jesus Castillo Jr., Jose Estrada Jr., Miguel Perez Jr., and Savio Vega in an 8-person tag. And number 6 was Bret Hart and the British Bulldog defeat the Patriot and Vader in a flag tag match. And number 7 was Shawn Michaels defeating The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match.
I have to say my favorite thing about the Patriot is that his theme was literally the exact same song for Kurt Angle.
Yep. It was.
And they literally wrestled like a year and a half apart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how dumb does WWE think people are? How many people do you think when that song plays for the first time, they thought, yo, the Patriot's back? Nope.
Oh, and wait, no, that's Kurt Angle.
Yeah. With a broken freaking neck.
Yep.
But
that's a really good This Week in Wrestling History I picked.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed that one. That was a good card.
And now we'll get into some results from the G1 Climax, the night 7 of the tournament. A little description on how the matches were. So Tangaloa and Tamura Ishii in Block A. This was not an easy match for the faint heart, as both Loa and Ishii were determined to pick up their first in-ring win of the G1 Climax. Lots of heavy strikes and forearms were delivered in the opening bout of the match, and it looks like a Tangaloa would get the win, but when he hooked in Operation Jado Killer, but the Stone Pitbull reached the ropes, causing a break in the pin. After a bit more brawling, Ishii would still land his vertical drop brainbuster for his first earned 2 points for the win. So that's it. That sounded like it was a rushed match. Yeah, by basically what I'm reading and what I saw, it looked like a rush match. It looked like it was just like an opening start for the show. Like they weren't going to take as much time with this match in particular, because I guess they wanted to get to the other matches that had build up, which makes sense, you know.
Yeah, they always do a very good job of booking the G1.
And they didn't. And it's for me, I thought this match was okay. I mean, you could have, if you really like watched the whole match, I think there could have been a lot more with how to put over both stars in this match. It would have been you could have had them go neck and neck, kind of like how they do with Shingo and Tomohiro Ishii when they put them together in just regular one-on-one matches.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's a good observation.
Because people really get into it, and I see the crowd getting into it because they'll Shingo, he'll do his normal forearm strike and then the clothesline combo and then pull them around into like another clothesline, and people just go wild for that. People get up on their feet for that.
I have to say the best sequencing comes from New Japan. That's something that I've always been a huge fan of. The way they have some sequences is just eye-opening, and it's just so good.
Yeah, I remember seeing one sequence where who was it? It was Bushi and ZSJ, and Bushi was going for a Torpe Suicina dive on ZSJ, and ZSJ saw it coming, and he grabbed him as he went for the dive into like a headlock, and then he picked him up from by his head and DDT'd him right into the mat there. I was like, that's unbelievable. Wow. To see that kind of quick turnaround from ZSJ and like capitalize off a move like that, that was insane.
Zack Sabre Jr. is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world right now, in my opinion. I think he is tremendous.
Yeah, he is. I would love to see if AEW was able to get him over from Japan and have him wrestle for one match or a couple matches. I would love to see ZSJ against a submission specialists like who do we
Bryan
have?
Danielson. Danielson.
Put him against Bryan Danielson. That's going to be insane.
That'll be an amazing match.
Yeah. And then one of the other matches I enjoyed from this event was Kodabushi and who's in this picture right here? That is Kodabushi and Tanahashi. I thought that was a great match.
Sounds great.
Yeah. It's just because this move was insane when he ran from the center and he did like a almost type Fosbury flop move, but instead it was like over the ropes, like a type of moonsault dive onto Tanahashi. It's amazing to see the level of of athleticism these guys do. Like Japan just doesn't mess around. Like they go all out. They don't care.
Pun intended?
Yeah, pun intended. Yes.
They go all out.
Yep. You know what always gets me is I love this every time. Every time I see Evil wrestling, he does it. He does this on purpose, and he knows the timekeeper's there too. And the timekeeper's like, should I move or should I stay here? And they're telling him to stay put and not to move because he has to ring the bell because that's his job. And you just see someone get whiplashed, like Evil just whiplashed him into he throws that guy into the guardrail, and you just see the timekeeper's table get flipped over and he falls out. Oh.
Well, he is evil.
Everything is evil. Pretty much.
Yep.
It's so funny to see that. It's great. Every time I see them do that, it makes the show even more entertaining. And even with Yano Toru, I was watching.
I love Yano.
Yeah, I was watching the beginning of the G1 this year, and it was a match between him and Kenta, and Kenta had the same idea as him. So Yano had like a piece of tape on the entranceway where the structure is, and he took the piece of tape and he was gonna tape Kenta to the structure, and Kenta's like no, and he kicks him and knocks him down, and he sees another piece of tape on his guts and tries to tape him. So
That's
great.
funny.
Yeah, it's so entertaining when they do stuff like that because it keeps everybody glued into the tournament, and it keeps everybody watching, and it's been amazing so far. And it's I'm very interested to see how it ends, but something tells me it's going to be Okada and somebody else, and that
You said Great O'Con earlier.
Yeah, it could be Great O'Con. It could be someone on the same level as Great O'Con in wrestling. Someone who has the same kind of, almost a similar type of style as him. But we'll see. And then I was watching New Japan Strong a little bit this week. I thought that show was pretty good. The one guy I really want to see that I haven't seen a lot of perform yet because I haven't really got into New Japan Strong is JR Kratos. I hear this guy's he's a monster. He's a behemoth, dude. He'll just pick somebody up and toss them.
You know, I'll be honest. I haven't really watched much of New Japan Strong, which I should because I've heard it's very good. So I'm not as familiar with him.
Yeah, and then Tom Lawler, he had a match against Leo Rush, and he defeated Leo for the Strong Openweight Championship. So Tom Lawler won that title. I think he had it before for a little bit, and then I think he dropped it for a while, and then just got it back.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And then Chris Dickinson had defeated Royce Isaacs, and then JR Kratos defeated Fred Yee, and then the next, you know who I want to see more of on this show, and who is it that I saw on there before? Fred Rossier. He was.
Well, that was Darren Young, right?
Yes, that was Darren Young.
Okay.
He's been on Strong. I think he had a couple matches over in Japan on the New Japan roster. And there's a fun story about New Japan. I think I've told this before many times, but
if it is, I'm gonna start calling you Josh.
I don't remember if I told it, but I know it was about
Alex Coughlin?
Alex Conlon, yes.
Conlon. And you were sitting front row, and after the show, you saw him in the parking lot, and he asked you what you thought of his match.
Yes, absolutely.
Boom. I'm very proud of myself.
You know who else was on that card at the time? Alex Zane.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was my first time seeing Alex Zane wrestle. And he came out to the song he has now after leaving WWE, Downfall of Us All by A Day to Remember. That's the one he comes out to.
He's in GCW now, right?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's actually in GCW, but he was wrestling for GCW a couple times. I think he's just I don't think they actually have contracts like that. But
yeah, he was on that card that day. Jeff Cobb was there. I saw him in a match.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Jeff Cobb was there. Who else was there? Chase Owens was there. Tamatonga, Tangaloa were there. Yujiro was there. Oh, who else was there that I saw? The one guy that was supposed to be there was Jay White, but he for some reason he couldn't make that show because he missed a flight. So that sucked because I was really looking forward to seeing him live.
That's funny. That's very funny.
I was really looking forward to seeing him on that card. And who else was there? Cole Cabana and Yano Toru. My dad thought they were hilarious. He was so into it. Because they were in a tag match as a tag team together. He's like, "No, you go first." He's like, "No, you go. No, you go. No, you go. All right, we'll rock paper scissors for it, and whoever loses has to get in the ring." And they do that, and Cole Cabana lost, so he had to start. It was so.
Who'd they face?
I'm trying to remember who did they face. I can't remember who it was. So long ago. And then who else did I see? Oh, Juice Robinson was there and David Finlay.
And congratulations to Juice Robinson. Anyway, just got engaged, Tony Storm. So I guess you could say now Tony
Robinson or something.
No, Tony's gonna be getting some of the juice.
But yeah, those were the guys that I saw like live, and that was my first like live New Japan event. And
mine was G1 Supercard.
Yeah, that was at the St. Petersburg Coliseum in Tampa, and that's the day I met Lance Archer.
That's really cool. We had him on our show when we were Takedown Breakdown, Josh and I, and he was a really fun interview.
Yeah, I hope one day we can get him on Off the Mat, but
I hope so. That'd be really cool. We have to try and get him through AEW, but I don't know.
Yeah, because you'd have to go directly contact AEW to get him on. But before we get to our finishing move, what else could I think of to talk about story-wise? Oh yeah, this was interesting. My friend Chris, he is a deathmatch wrestler. He goes by he's like a cowboy gimmick, a cowboy Chris gimmick.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a deathmatch wrestler. So he's wrestled for some deathmatch promotions up north and by Daytona Beach and down that way. And he's done some matches there. I've actually, there was one time I commentated a match for him, and that was very dangerous because it wasn't like it wasn't.
All of a sudden,
it was all backyard. It wasn't like a professional deathmatch thing.
All of a sudden,
a shard of glass that long and that thick is
a pizza cutter comes flying in the air in your direction.
That'd be scary.
There's gonna be 8 pieces of Alex Flows. 1 whole piece is enough. We don't need more.
Oh, my friend had to get 8. How many stitches? Oh yeah. He had to get like 30 stitches in his back, dude.
Really?
He
For
took
what?
a full golf swing to the back with a fluorescent light bulb tube. A full-on swing. Yeah, and I could just see all. I could just see.
That sounds
blood.
painful.
Yeah, I could see blood pouring out of his back, dude. It was the most horrific thing I've ever had to commentate live. It was so bad. It was like I was cringing as I was seeing that, as I was describing that.
Yeah. Sounds gross.
Now it's time to get to our finishing move, and my finishing move is my birthday's coming up, October 11th. Yep, I'll be 24, which is crazy to think because it's like time just goes by like this, like very fast.
Yeah, unfortunately it does.
And me and my brother are going to go to Universal, so that would be a lot of fun. And go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and do all that, so I'm very much looking
jealous.
forward to that.
I'm very jealous of that. I love Harry Potter.
What's your finishing move, Lyle? What do you got?
So, Tessa Blanchard has signed with a wrestling company. She is now signed with WOW Women of Wrestling. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Speedy, yeah. Well, I would have gone if I didn't have to work that week, but it is what it is.
Dude, it's 3 weeks away.
Yeah, but they already scheduled me. I'm like, dang it.
So you could take off.
They already scheduled me for it.
Switch with somebody?
They won't let you switch at all. That's just, I don't know why. It is what it is. I'm not arguing with them.
That sucks.
Yeah, but you said something about Tessa Blanchard signing
Yes,
with WOW.
she is signed with WOW, and I am kind of disappointed that she signed with them. Not because I want her to sign anywhere. I want her to sign nowhere. She's a racist. She does not belong in that company or in any company anywhere.
Yeah, I could agree. I can agree with you on that because I've seen the stuff she said on some of the things she has said on Twitter and stuff she said on social media, and I'm like, why would you even think of mentioning that on social media to begin with?
I don't. She has issues, and WOW must be really desperate to bring her in.
I mean, like, there's a reason Tony Khan won't do it, and
because she's racist.
Yep. And then before we finish the show, here's how you can follow us again on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, how you can follow us on social media, and where you can catch us on our pages, our website. Please be sure to check out the Worldwide Sports Radio Network website. That is www.worldwidesportsradio.com. That is www.worldwidesportsradio.com. You can also download the WWSRN app. It is absolutely free. You get access to show articles. If you missed an episode, you can replay an episode from the app on the go. You can check out clips from our show, interview clips, show articles, show profiles, and more through that app. Also, check us out on social media at WWSRN_radio. That is WWSRN_radio. Check out the Worldwide Sports Radio Network on Facebook. Follow us here at Off the Mat on Twitter. Mine is at Show Slows. Lyle's is at Lyle Gillen _. And Josh's profile tag is at Josh Silverberg. You can also follow Off the Mat on Twitter and Facebook at Off the Mat WWSRN. Check out the Off the Mat WWSRN website. The website is available in our Twitter and Facebook page description. You click on that link, it'll take you to the Off the Mat website. We have a show and pay-per-view schedule from September into October. We have a show archive with all of the past episodes that we have done for Off the Mat here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We also have a special guest interview page with all the interviews we have done with special guests here on Off the Mat. We also have a contact page where you can contact us directly to our Gmails. And also we have a show article page as well to check out that I extended from the Worldwide Sports Radio Network page. So please check out everything we have available. Please download that app, the WWSRN app, and it's available on Google Play, Apple iPhone, and you can get it on an Android device as well. Also, if you want to listen to us on the go, you can listen to us through the Apple Podcast app. You can listen to us through Spotify, Google Play, Anchor FM, Breaker, and Overcast. So please be sure to download our episodes every week, and please stick with us every Tuesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, because we got a lot more amazing things to come and to look forward to. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. I enjoyed the interview with our special guest. I wish Josh could have been here for it. I mean, he would have loved it. Hopefully next time we have him on, he can join in on the conversation and pick up some points from this interview that we had with him. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. Thank you for tuning in. It's time to end the show. So what do you have to say, Kenny Omega? Take it away.
I must bid you adieu. So say with me now if you know it. Goodbye. And good night.
Thank you for listening to Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, your source for all things wrestling and sports entertainment. It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look.